Hey guys, Disorder Magic here, and let's talk about unstable card quality, because that is the latest set to come out, and we've had, I don't even remember, like 6, 7, 8 sets in a row total that have come out of the printing facility with just terrible quality printing, bad cutting alignment, which has honestly always been a problem, but it's gotten worse, bad ink, too light, too dark, what else? Well, the paper bending. I mean, that's number one right now. They changed the paper. I don't care what they say, if they want to admit it or not. They did. They clearly did. They seem thinner and lighter to me, and I've been handling Magic cards forever. I mean, you're talking to somebody who sorts 50,000 cards when a new set comes out. I know what they feel like. I know what they weigh. I know what the surface feels like, and I know what the ink looks like, and they changed something. Still, that is merely my opinion, my assessment. I don't have proof of that. So you guys may remember, I've referenced this a couple times. I ordered about 10 grand worth of Oath of the Gatewatch at the time, and about 60 to 70% of my uncommons, so like more than half, we're talking, what would that even be, 10, 20,000 of them, were all miscut. And I don't just mean, oh, they're off by a little, I mean to the point where you could see the white guideline marks, and I could not sell them. We are talking that bad of a miscut. Like, it was off by a good fraction of a centimeter. And I've noticed that whenever that happens to somebody, me including, I kind of forget to mention that, okay, obviously I ordered them all at the same time from one distributor. So I get a bunch of boxes that come in cases together that came off the printing line at the same time. And usually I get sequentially numbered cases with the, similar serial numbers or whatever. And so obviously if there was a printing problem that day or that hour or that minute, then I'm going to see a whole bunch of it. So honestly, everybody else in the world could have gotten proper cards and just mine were defective, but I'm overrepresenting it because I'm like, oh, 70% of them were miscut. Yeah, in my order. So for unstable, this is why this video is a little bit late, I guess you would say. I wanted to just report on, have they improved it, had they made it worse? The overall quality, but I looked at my order, I looked at 3 other local gaming stores, and asked their owners, because I know all of them and stuff. And then I looked at people who got their orders online as well, and stores that get their product from multiple different distributors. So I would say that it's a very representative sample size of, the entire, print run, I guess you would call it, or the product run or whatever. Now, not necessarily, because still, it's not that many people, it's not that many boxes, but it's better than just looking at one shipment, one time, one distributor. So why would anything be different this time? Well, because people have been complaining about it, duh. So the other thing is, my shipment of Iconic Masters looked pretty good. It was still that cheap, crappy, real flimsy, thin, lighter paper, as far as I can tell. That's just what it seems like to me. If they changed it, it's not just my imagination. But holy crap, were the colors accurate. I mean, the blacks were black, the brights were bright, and the colors were accurate. I mean, you still get the color shift, but there ain't a printer in the world that won't do that, between cards. But yeah, I mean, they were cut properly, which miscuts have always been a problem. It's just difficult to feed a hopper with sheets and have it cut precisely down to the 10th of a millimeter. That just is hard to do in general. But what a normal print company does, keep in mind I have worked at one before, is when we get ones that are miscut, we recycle them and run it again. Now, Wizards, apparently their policy, or I should say their third-party printing people, their policy is screw it, send it out to the customer anyway, I'm sure they won't mind. I got news for ya! We mind. So it did still feel like that paper that's real just weird and has trouble bending. But honestly, out in the open air, not a lot of the cards did bend. And if they did, it was like all one rarity or all one color, which is weird considering how sheets are made. But, does anybody really know what a sheet looks like for any given set for sure? Without actually seeing one, maybe they changed it. Maybe all the red cards are on one sheet now, which I understand is not the way they usually do that. So I thought, hey, maybe they improved it. They had at the very least improved the ink, but then I remembered that all the Masters sets look better ink-wise, so they might have used a more expensive, more accurate ink or a more expensive machine to print it. So then I thought, okay, I wonder about Unstable, because they probably really don't care. I mean, not only is it silver bordered, it's not really a collector's set, it's not $9.99 a booster, it's not, what they would consider to be, I guess, a premium set. So I thought, okay, I mean, Rivals isn't out yet, so let's see. I mean, let's take a look, because maybe they fixed it. Now, the other thing is, the very first set that people were complaining about, like just bending and looking like crap and all the black levels being way off. I don't remember. I know Conspiracy 2 looked that way. The black ink levels and everything were just garbage. Everything looked pale. The contrast ratios were all way, way, way off. Color accuracy was out the window. Something went wrong with that set. Probably on purpose, like they used a different ink or a different printer. It's not like an accident. And it might have been a set or two before that. I don't remember. I feel like Shadows didn't have that problem, and I'm not sure. But remember the time delay, okay? They're probably printing Dominaria right now, and I guarantee Rivals is done. Because think about how early that sheet was leaked onto the internet of Ixalan, all the rares and mythics and all that. That was leaked after it was stolen, and after it was listed online after it was stolen. So the person could have sat on it for a week or two. So the lead time between sets is outrageous. Like I said, they're almost definitely printing Dominaria right now. Very few people know the actual timescale and the actual lead time, and it's probably variable based on how busy the printer company is. So you can't just say, okay, day one, product number one that has a problem, clearly people are complaining about it, and then you go, let's fix it. Well, the next set is already printed, and maybe the one after that. And honestly, depending upon what time of year, maybe the one after that too. So Wizards could have, fixed the problem, and the next three sets are still wrong because they've already been made with the same method. Now, if you're asking yourself why the printing facility wouldn't have a QA department that actually gives a crap, I don't have an answer for you other than Wizards is probably telling them to cheap out on a massive scale. So product number one that comes out is just terrible. People are like, wow, what the hell's wrong with the ink, the printing? There's this flaw, there's this miscut, there's this curling problem. Wow, we hate it. Maybe they went to the printing facility and said, what the heck happened? And well, as if they didn't request them to make a change on the paper to make it cheaper. I mean, I feel like that would have been what Wizards did, but maybe they made an unauthorized change and they changed the paper themselves to make it cheaper. Who knows? But they could, be going back and forth. Oh, no, it's not our fault. Oh, no, people must be lying. Oh, that must have been paper was exposed to humidity and oh, it won't happen again. They go back and forth, dick around, whatever. And then another set comes out and it's still wrong. And then, maybe even the first one, Wizards just ignored them, everybody complaining because they were just like, oh, maybe it's a fluke, whatever. And then once it became a pattern, then they looked into it. Then there was some back and forth and delay. So it could take a year and a half, 2 years to fix the problem. I mean, it shouldn't because they should actually give a crap about their primary product. Although I will say about 60% of their income comes from MTGO. So arguable which one is their primary product. Now with Arena coming out, it does look like maybe they're trying to move out of paper, but they'll never do it. I think even Rosewater said they have no intention to stop making paper cards. And given the quality of their programming teams and their software products, I would tend to agree that that's a smart decision at this point because they're awful at their jobs. Hey, maybe they made the paper product worse to match their digital products. You ever think about that, you guys? Because I'm thinking about that. Like, MTGO is a barely usable, poorly designed pile of glitchy, freezy garbage that looks like it was designed in the 90s. So they're like, guys, our paper products are outshining it. We gotta make them worse. This is 100% sarcasm. I don't think they actually did that. I do think that they said, hey, can we make it 10% cheaper? Oh, sure, we'll use this garbage, unreliable paper. Cool, do it. So you have to factor in the possibility that they are doing this on purpose, they do know about it, and they don't care. So they're either they're either fixing it, but it's so late and so delayed and such a slow process that, it is what it is and it's going to take a while to fix. And in my estimate, I would say that maybe even Rivals would be the first one to be expected to have the curling problem fixed just because of the delay and approximately when it started and other stuff. But there is also the possibility that they distinctly do not care. They don't care about card quality. They don't care about ink quality. You get a miscut, whatever. And it's like if you get a drastically misprinted Mythic, it's actually worth more. And if you get a drastically misprinted 25-cent card, then spend another quarter and get a proper one, or just play with it. Who cares? At least you can read the card in most cases. Like, I'll even buy heavy play cards for Modern. I don't care what they look like or how damaged they are or any kind of... It's the card. I know what it does. You can read it, the end. And I think, right out of the box, they're like, well, yeah, but it's playable. It's not, gem mint 10 out of 10 collector's quality, but who cares? You're playing with it. Most people buy the cards to play with. But then there's like another extreme to it. Like, I don't want to spend like, what was it, $30 or whatever on a commander deck and pull it out and have it look like a damn umbrella. Because honestly, like for shuffling purposes and stuff, that isn't playable. Like the cards are not playable. So that's the whole controversy surrounding, misprints and stuff. So let's get back to the results. How was Unstable when I went far out of my way and put in a ton of effort to look at tons of individual varying samples? Well, across the board, consistently from every vendor, every distributor, every day that the cards were printed on, absolute butt quality, 0 out of 10. It is so consistently bad, and my shipment was the worst out of it. So, I might be a little biased, but call me crazy that I might want to get products that work that I can sell. Just my mythics and my rares were screwed up. Just the mythics and rares. To say it's aggravating isn't even accurate. To say that it literally costs me money because I can't sell these cards is more accurate. And unlike everybody else in the world, I can't send my cards in for replacement because they need your full name to do that, and I'm not going to be stupid enough to give Wizards my name and shipping information, because I'm sure you got to give them a DCI number too. That is just not going to happen. Now, I might ship them to my friend that lives way across the state and have him send them in and pretend that he bought them somewhere else. I'm thinking about it because, I mean, these cards, it's unstable. They're not worth that much money, but they're worth enough money that I can sell them for some money. Oh, and also the corners were miscut, like really flat, really off, really asymmetric on 100% of my foil lands. You know, those $100 cards. So the commons and uncommons looked, moderately okay. There were some issues with them, a little bit of color shift and just some slight miscuts. I got pretty accurate centered cuts this time around. Another LGS in my area absolutely did not. Almost every card from every sheet and everything was miscut, so that's awesome. But my mythics and rares were just faded as hell. We're talking like if this were thrown into Photoshop and you did it artificially, it's about a 50% gray as opposed to a 100% black. It's like that light. It's not just, it's slightly lighter than the rest. It's like you look at it and you're like, what the hell happened to this card? And that's what more than half of my mythics and rares looked like. Oh, and the text is printed separately from the background, so it was only the text, like the title and the text box text. So obviously I can't sell those, and nobody wants them as a collectible for like a collection or even in trade because they're like, wow, I mean, if they're trying to get like one of every mythic or one of every contraption or like even one of every card, I've seen people trying to do that because you can get it done for like $100. They obviously don't want to be like showing off a collection and be like, wow, those are a mistake. I mean, people care about looks on like collections and collectibles. Now, the other thing is the paper quality. Did they solve that yet? Because the ink and the paper are two completely different things. Although bad paper will reflect ink very poorly. That's actually like a huge factor, like the brightness and the flatness and the absorption level and all that stuff. Well, unfortunately, it's that cheap, thin, crappy, flexible, humidity-prone garbage paper that they've been using forever. A ton of mine just bowed like you won't believe. I mean, we're talking like a significant arc. It's not just like, that's a little bit bent. It's like, damn, like it's acting like a foil, and obviously the foils have been a problem forever. By the way, if anybody has that quote from one of the staff members at Wizards saying in an interview why they aren't correcting the foils, and you already know what I'm talking about if you read the answer, because it will make your eyes light on fire just from reading it. If you have that quote or a screenshot or link to it, please send it to me. I'd love to make a video about it. Like, take whatever reason or excuse you think they have for making foils curl and not fixing it, and then multiply it times 10 on the stupidity scale. That was what they gave as an official company statement for why they aren't fixing it. I don't want to ruin the surprise, though, or quote it incorrectly. So even for just non-foils, the best way I can describe it is that the paper is not the type of paper that you would normally use for collectible cards, because when it goes through the cutter, the edges become compressed. And so the center is larger than the edges, and what you get is this weird, like, three-dimensional, like, doming effect. So the edges are, like, pulling in and like pushing the middle up. So basically, like, you guys know like those little safety things on like a Snapple bottle where you take off the cap and then it like flexes up and down. That's basically what a lot of my cards are doing. And by a lot, I mean almost all of them. And now with foils, we already know what the problem is. It's paper versus a laminate made out of metal and plastic together, as far as we can tell. Those are two different materials, and one, when it absorbs or loses water, can expand or contract, and the other one does not, thus the curl. I mean, it is what it is. Now, as far as a card where the paper is all from the same sheet, how does that happen? And so that's why I would say it's the cutter. So something weird happens to the paper edges, the edges of the card, when it goes through the cutter, and it's just not right. It might be that, or it might be the glue, something with the glue not adhering properly, or the paper not breathing out any kind of like fumes properly or something, but that's a bit of a long shot. So could they fix it if they wanted to? I would say 99% yes, and 1% maybe the paper that they were using is no longer available from the paper vendor. Nobody ever considers that. Now, I'm not going to give Wizards the benefit of the doubt on this because they are greedy. They will slash costs. They will cut corners poorly, pun intended. They will do whatever they can to save money and to cost people on MTGO money. I mean, they're basically the EA of card games. Whatever they can do to make a little bit extra. Oh, we're going to add a master set. Oh, we're going to add full art lands again. Oh, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. Oh, masterpieces. Whatever clever little scheme they can do, they will do it. Oh, promoting Mass Drop and Walmart and slashing prices and not cracking down on people selling $92 boxes, that does up their sales and they charge the distributor the same no matter what. So whatever sneaky, dirty, immoral things that they do that ruins the product and ruins the entire like network of distribution, they will do it because it makes them more money. Simple as that. So would I give them the benefit of the doubt when it comes to them clearly, in my opinion, switching the paper type? No. But it is possible. I mean, it is an actual possibility that they cannot get that paper anymore. Maybe it was made from non-renewable resources and now that's being cracked down on. I don't know. I know that in Japan they had to change it. Well, they didn't have to, but maybe they did have to. It's a whole thing. But they made it out of like recycled paper and recyclable paper or something like that. So maybe they can't fix it. Maybe they had to go with different paper. And maybe it's such a delay that they did already fix it, we just won't see it for 2 more releases. But outside of that, they haven't done a damn thing to fix it, it would appear, and the products are still garbage. They're still almost unplayable levels of bending. The readability, the resellability is ridiculous. I mean, if I, as a reseller, buy their product, unbox it, sort it, which is very time consuming and still very beneficial to the game, and I'm moving product for them, and then I get, 5 to 10% defects where I cannot sell that product because it's defective. That's cutting into my profitability after 3 garbage sets in a row that weren't very profitable. Not good, Wizards. So seriously, if you haven't already fixed it, get it together, Wizards. We actually give a crap about card quality. I want to actually play the game without interruptions in sales and in shuffling and everything. All the problems it's causing. I don't want that. Can't really make it any clearer, so it is what it is. If you want to help, either buy their printing facility that they use and then force them to change it. That's one option. Or just keep mentioning it over and 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 use the hashtag MTG Trash. Thank you, Tony Hawk from MTG Purple, for coming up with that one. So take a picture of your misprinted cards, send them out on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, and use hashtag MTG Trash and make sure you @ Wizards of the Coast. Or specifically, I think it's like Magic the Gathering, just whatever. Send it to them. Hell, send it to Hasbro. Maybe they'll give a crap. Tag everybody in it. Who cares? By the way, did you know that Tony Hawk moved to Canada and started an MTG channel? It's true. MTG Purple. Look it up. Now, I know there's the big conspiracy that Hollywood and the mass media have made up Canada, and it's actually a fantasy and not a place that actually exists in real life. But Purple does claim to be from there, so, I mean, whatever. If he's going to play along with the big conspiracy that Canada actually exists, then okay, whatever. But other than that, he makes fantastic MTG content, and his channel is exploding, and it's infinitely better than the garbage that Wedge and Tolarian are posting. But that's because they basically have Wizards control every single word that they say, so, yeah. I'll see you guys next video.